In our digital world, you know how it is. An idea can go viral in a heartbeat. But how do you protect that initial spark of genius before it's even ready for the world? Well, today, we're going to dive into a fascinating new system designed to do exactly that. It's called the Philfo framework, and it's a pretty radical new way to think about managing our ideas, right from that very first moment of inspiration.
So here's what we've got on tap. We'll kick things off with the big problem every creator faces. Then we'll break down how this framework sees an idea's life in 3 stages. After that, we'll look at its super flexible protection model, a physical smart card for your IP, and get this, how AI helps connect community projects to the global market. And we'll wrap up by asking, what does this all mean for digital ownership?
All right, let's get right to the heart of it all, the creator's dilemma. I mean, this is a challenge that every single innovator, artist, or entrepreneur knows all too well.
Seriously, let me ask you, have you ever been there? You've got this amazing concept, this lightning in a bottle, but you just hesitate. Who can you trust with it? How do you collaborate without somebody running off with your idea? That fear that your idea could be stolen or just misunderstood before it even has a chance to breathe, that is exactly the problem the Philfo framework is trying to tackle.
Okay, so how does it propose to solve that dilemma? Well, it all starts with a really simple but kind of profound idea. Ideas evolve. They aren't just born fully formed. So this framework lays out a whole new life cycle, breaking every idea's journey down into 3 very distinct stages.
They call these the NTA streams. N stands for natural, that raw beginning. T is for traditional, where you bring in a community to help shape it. And A is for artificial, which is the final polished product. Let's break down what each of those actually means.
First up, the natural stream. This is that light bulb moment, right? That aha. It's completely private, just a flash of inspiration in your head. The source material has this really cool name for it, the live AI telepathy phase. Now, don't get hung up on the AI part. It's not about robots. It's about that feeling, like a telepathic signal that only exists in your mind or your most private notes. Okay, so after that initial spark, the idea moves into the traditional stream. This is where you start to bring other people into the fold. The framework calls this the live AI telegraph phase. And it makes sense, right? You're not just thinking anymore, you're transmitting your idea. You're sending it out to your team or your community to get their input. It becomes a shared thing.
And that brings us to the final stage, the artificial stream. This is the whole shebang, the polished, finished product. It could be an app, a song, a scientific paper, you name it. They call this one the live AI telegram phase. It's like a formal, polished message that's ready to go public and be used commercially.
So, you have these 3 stages. But here's where it gets really, really clever. The framework argues that the protection for your idea should evolve right along with it. No more one-size-fits-all approach.
This system's called CPL. That stands for Copyright, Permit, and License. And the whole point is that each one of these lines up perfectly with one of those NTA streams we just talked about. It's a way more specific, tailored approach to protection at every step of the way.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. The old way, you'd usually slap a single, rigid license on way too late in the process. But with this Philfo CPL model, you start right at the very beginning. You get a basic copyright for that raw idea in the natural stream. Then you get a permit to govern the collaboration phase in the traditional stream. And only when you have a finished product, the artificial stream, do you need that full-blown commercial license. The protection literally grows with the idea.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But you're probably wondering, how on earth do I prove I had that initial idea in the first place? Well, the answer is pretty surprising. It's a physical thing, a smart card.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material. It just gets right to the heart of it. This isn't just some USB drive. The whole concept is that it's a tangible, unhackable vault for your idea when it's at its most fragile, right there in that natural stream. Just look at this comparison with something we all use, like Google Drive. Cloud storage is amazing for collaboration. That's perfect for your traditional and artificial streams, but its security depends on being online. The whole selling point of the smart card is the exact opposite. Its security comes from isolation. It's offline. That's how it can give you what's called non-repudiable proof. And that's just a fancy term for undeniable proof that you created this thing at this specific time before it ever even touched the internet.
So how do they plan to get this into everyone's hands? This part is really smart. They call it the facilitators package. The idea is you don't actually buy the card. Instead, a company you already use, say Google with its workspace or maybe your antivirus software, they bundle it in for free. They pay for it. So for you, the creator, protecting your brilliant idea isn't an extra cost. It's just there.
But hold on, the framework goes even bigger. It's not just about protecting one person's idea. It also has this huge vision for connecting the value created in communities to the real-world economy. And it uses some pretty advanced tech to do it.
So think about this. A whole community comes together and builds something amazing. How do you turn that into something with real financial value? The answer, according to Philfo, is something called a blockchain bridge. It's basically a secure and ethical pipeline to move that value from the community out into the global market.
Here's how the flow works. On one side, you have a trust-based community blockchain. Let's call it Philfo Traditional. On the other side, you've got a crypto blockchain for global trading, Philfo Modern. And connecting them, an AI bridge. This AI is the crucial middleman. It verifies the project is legit, it figures out what it's worth, that's the valorizes part, and then it translates it so it can be traded fairly on the open market.
But how does the AI know what it's looking at is the real deal? This is where things get a little sci-fi, in the best way possible. It uses a concept called cymatics. The basic idea is that every single thing, every idea, every asset has its own unique vibrational pattern, kind of like a fingerprint. They call this the Philfo seal, and it's how the AI can be 100% sure an asset is authentic before letting it cross that bridge.
So let's just step back for a second. When you put all these pieces together, the life cycle, the growing protection, the smart card, the AI bridge, you've got a whole new ecosystem here. This is a fundamental challenge to the way we've always handled intellectual property. So what's the bottom line? The Philfo framework isn't just one cool gadget or a piece of software. It's a complete system. You've got the clear life cycle for ideas, protection that actually adapts to the situation, and real physical security. At the end of the day, it's all about creating a safer and fairer playground for creators, from that first little spark all the way to the finished product.
And that leaves us with this one last big question to chew on. In a world where absolutely everything is going digital, moving to the cloud, and becoming more connected, could it be that the real key to securing our most valuable digital ideas is something physical, something you can actually hold in your hand? It's a fascinating paradox, and definitely something worth thinking about.